It's a little groovy. You're allowed to dance.
All right, sweet. I love dancing.
Okay. Hello. Oh, all right. Here we are at day 3 of Baltimore Comic-Con, and we are bringing out the big guns today. We have with us Dulce Montoya, Thea, I didn't get the pronunciation of your last name.
Cheuk.
Thea Cheuk from AWA Studios and Artisans. Studios and Artisans. Is that how it's still?
AWA Studios.
AWA Studios.
Because the Artisans is one of the A's.
Oh, it's one of the A's. Okay, got it. AWA Studios, which, if you recall from last year's Baltimore Comic-Con coverage, we spoke to the editor-in-chief, the publisher, the boss,
Chief
Axel,
Creative Officer.
Creative Officer, Axel Alonso, a legend in the comic world. A lot of what people are enjoying in like the MCU right now, like came up when he was in charge of Marvel Comics. Mm-hmm. But Axel and these incredible people, including you both, have started this amazing company, AWA, that has some of the most creative and intelligent writing. Like, just the words on the page, we were reading all the stuff we picked up yesterday, just blow us away. But also because we're movie fans, like, all of this is going to make, I hope someone's making the movies, like, right now. Because, you know, I love the MCU, I love the DCU, but people are saying, like, oh, it's all the same. Okay, great. Put your money where your mouth is, make one of these, because they're incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
And another big thing, big news. Dulce worked on what is now Ringo and Eisner, already won an Eisner award-winning Not All Robots.
Well, I would like to say that we are a startup, so we all very much pitch in, and it's not just me, but I'm basically, coordinating editor, making sure everybody gets their stuff in on time.
Okay.
Team effort, AWA. I would like to say.
That's great to hear. Startups are awesome that way. It's like a happy family. But your work is not just awesome to read, but it's winning awards. It won one of the biggest awards last night here at the con, and we want to talk to you about your books, and then we want to talk about movies and stuff. This is my sister Becky.
Hi.
Hello.
Becky's.
What?
No, I don't know. I just wanted to know. I don't know.
Am I paying attention? Yes, I'm paying attention. I know what we're talking about.
When we're doing the podcast, sometimes Becky is.
When
Which
you
one
take
is the
a breath.
older sibling?
Wait, how about you guess?
All right. When you take a breath, I'll ask a question, but it's,
Okay, that's true.
You're very excited. Also, you're very excited,
That's
and I
true.
don't want to take this moment from you.
Okay.
I know how much this interview means.
Okay.
How
All right.
amped up you are about these comics.
And
Wait,
even though
no, go ahead.
even though it's a team effort, I just want to also say Thea worked on Absolution, which is like, as you described it yesterday, but I'm going to re-describe it in my own way. Imagine the Running Man with assassins and the Hunger Game,
Yeah.
but there's like streaming and you need likes, and it's not just about the killing, it's the style. It's so intense.
It very much had like a Hunger Games vibe in the turning murder into a commodity, like a pop culture.
I say I enjoyed it more than the Hunger Games, though. So that was
Yeah,
really awesome.
I it's definitely
So do I.
Yeah. It's definitely edgier and more interesting.
And then Hit Me, which
I want to
is
hear. And you both worked on that? No.
I was series editor on that one.
So Hit Me, which I would not read to your kids.
No.
I didn't get a chance to start reading it, but we read what it's about, and that seemed really different from other stories that are out there. So
Yeah.
I do want to have a moment to get into that one and explain that, and just overall the body of work that AWA puts out. Can you tell me what it's about, what the common thread is?
Yeah, totally. So, Axel, most recently Marvel, but he was also a senior editor at Vertigo. Before that, worked on Preacher and other stuff that's really great. I can't remember right now. It was a long awards night last night. But I always think that we're very much more in the Vertigo vein, very much action, adventure, horror, mature readers. Like, we really care a lot about the storyline. And we really care a lot about the art, and we're just trying to really put stuff out there that's intelligent and smart and beautiful to look at, and that it has a cinematic quality to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tia, how about you? What's your take on the AWA vibe?
Yeah, I mean, most of our stuff is creator owned, so I think that gives a lot of flexibility in how people choose to tell their stories. So with DC or Marvel, you're working with established characters, you have a story that you want to tell, but you might not be able to go completely off the rails with it. Where we work is in a space that we have a lot of flexibility and freedom to let creators tell the stories that they want to tell. So I think that's kind of where we're thriving right now.
Yeah, and I love it because you said cinematic, but they're also like true books, meaning the stories really take you through a beginning and end. There isn't like not that I don't mind the serial comics, but you feel like you've invested in something, you soak it up, and then you're ready for the next chapter, but you've gotten some kind of resolution. So that's really, really exciting thing about the books. Okay, let's get into the individual books that you all worked on. Okay.
Cool.
I want to start. Well, let's save Not All Robots for last. The big award winner. But let's start with Absolution.
Sure.
Okay. Absolution, and this is when we're going to throw in some of our movie questions. All right. Like I said, I described it. Did I describe it well? Did I do a good job? Okay, cool. All right. What's a little bit about the behind the scenes of Absolution? What are the folks thinking about when they're driving these characters in the direction that they're driving them? I mean, there's the bigger point about media and things like that, but tell us a little bit about sort of what the drive is behind it.
Sure. So Peter Milligan is the author, and a lot of his stuff does have a more philosophical bent. He wants to tackle really deep, big questions. And we actually have, in the back matter of this issue, an essay by Peter where he goes into some of his thoughts and motivations about the character. So if you pick up issue number 1, you can definitely get that and read a little bit more into Peter's mind.
So we all see the slight shade for me for not having read the long part at the end. Everyone knows on the show that I don't read essays.
Yeah. So it's right here.
Oh, okay. All right.
There are a lot of words at the end.
I'll read it and I'll summarize it for you.
I will get that. But okay, but that's really, really cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, I think Peter wanted to tackle the idea of what is justice and what is absolution, and can you get that from other people, or is that something that has to come internally? And that's something that Nina really struggles with over the course of the series.
That's fantastic.
That is so rad. Okay. We'll come back to it later, but we're going to need you to cast the movie.
Okay.
Okay? We'll come back. Okay. Hit me.
Hit me.
Unlike anything I've ever read, and that one I read the opening essay, and it is absolutely incredible because it really situates this in talking about sex workers and in talking about BDSM culture and really framing up the character in this incredibly powerful and empowering way. I just the opening from the writer, who's Krista Faust, was fantastic. But I've only gotten like a little bit into it. Tell us a little bit about it. As the series editor, you really know where it's going, what's happening.
Yeah. So the story is about Lulu, who is a professional pain slut. It's set in the early 90s Atlantic City. And she ends up witnessing the execution of one of her best clients. And a bag of diamonds is left at the scene that she runs off with. And then, of course, trouble ensues. But, she really uses her wits about her and her street smarts to get ahead and, win it all at Atlantic City. But I'm super proud of this book. I love it. Krista Faust, we've worked with her on other titles as well, including Redemption and Bad Mother, which was one of our first titles.
Bad Mother's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. And, she's a professional dominatrix, has been in the sex worker industry for a very long time, New York and LA. And I'm, again, so proud of this because ever since I started this gig, I really wanted to do something like this. And working with Krista is amazing. And working with Priscilla as well and Marco Lesko, they're a great team. So this book is awesome. This is something I've always wanted to do in my career. So really proud of it.
That's really cool. As I would say, like, there's probably other books that cover this, but this is unlike anything I've ever read, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously coming from a very authentic voice. This is someone who understands, anyway, from Krista's background. This is not, no one else, it's important to have someone with the lived experience to be driving characters who are coming from that similar
as opposed to being written by like some dude who wants to be edgy.
Yeah.
This is written by someone who's speaking from the voice. It's very cool.
I spoke to her, we'd spoken extensively about everything that goes into the book over the phone and everything. And, we were doing this project during lockdown, early lockdown. And, it was so great to be able to talk to Krista and, get that authenticity out and be able to really give a real representation out there about the, sex workers. It's real work. And I love it.
It's really cool.
I'm excited to read it.
Okay, now, Eisner and Ringo Award winner, Not All Robots.
Mm-hmm.
I was, as Becky said, cackling. The dialogue, the word.
Well, to be clear, he was cackling, and then I get a, oh no! And at that point, I was like, give me the book.
I love it because I also have similar reactions to things all the time. Perhaps it's the Jew in us. I don't know. But people are always like, "What? Is everything okay? Why are you so dramatic?"
We're very expressive.
Yes,
we're very expressive.
Absolutely. So I enjoy a good cackle. I enjoy a good gasp. Thank you.
and this one was like the satirical world of like, it was like Futurama, but with the foreboding apocalyptic elements of Planet of the Apes. I was at least that's what I was feeling.
No, that's a really great log line. I wish that's what we went with. Because the minute I read the script, I was like, oh man, this is like Futurama. I love it already.
Actually, I would love to play a little bit of a log line game with you also, because yesterday hanging out at the booth, I was blown away one by one as everyone's describing me the log lines of the different books. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment there. Okay. AWA. What other big stuff is in store for AWA?
Well, if you check out AWA now, you'll find out.
AWA now.
But we have some great projects coming up with Dan Panosian, who I just love to death. He's done covers for us before, but he's been getting into writing more. He's a very talented artist. But this one he's writing, it's God, what would be the log line for this? It's like 1970s rock and roll, Satanism with like a haunted house and a flower child who has to try to get the best out of the Satanist cabal, and
every one of these, I want to see the movie version of every one of these. Netflix, God bless you, but no more Gray Man. And Gray Man was like, okay, why wouldn't you just make this?
Yeah,
so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Are we going to cast?
Yeah, we got a cast. Okay, we've given you time to think. I hope your brains have been percolating. Tia, I'm going to come back to you, but then Dulce, you. All right. So, Nina's got an awesome mohawk and guns. Who are you going to cast in the lead role?
I actually went through and did all the art reference for this book, and as I was collecting art reference for Nina, I cast early Mila Jovovich.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Perfect. Like, truly like one of the action icons, sci-fi icons, and, I mean, The Fifth Element is a big deal for our family. But I haven't seen all the Resident Evil because, well, I love certain elements of horror. When it's like too apocalyptic, I get very anxious. Resident Evil doesn't look like there's any happy.
That are thinking about working with me. So yeah, I love my job. It's a dream. It's great.
That's amazing. All right, Showendipity.
Yes.
All right, because I feel like AWA was Showendipity last year for us. Jackie came by our booth and said, "Hey, do you want to interview Axel Alonso?" And we're like, yes, we'll interview comic book legend Axel Alonso. And, he's going to sit for 5 minutes. We sat for much longer. He gave us so much time. He's such a mensch. And then since then, we dove in. I mean, I dove in and became such an AWA fan. So for me, that was a real Showendipity moment. Serendipity. Right? But when have you had a Showendipity movie or TV show or media moment like that? Like I said, the other two was big for us. What's another? While you think, this is when you do your thinking. We'll give some examples. What's one of your big ones?
Avatar is a huge one for me. It's a bit of an I told you show / a Showendipity because Shai had been really on me to watch it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be into it. But after I had my second kid and I'm home on maternity leave, I finally, I'm home alone with the baby all day, every day. I turned it on. I started watching it, and it was just like, I don't know, my heart was just cracked open, and I'm like, I am ready to receive this. And it was a perfect moment, yeah.
How about you all?
I think for me, Arcane on Netflix.
Oh.
League of Legends show.
League of Legends
cool.
show, like it's connected to the games?
It is.
Okay.
You don't need to have any League of Legends knowledge because I
Good.
did not going into it.
So what's the pitch? Yeah.
So the story follows one of the main characters from the video game, Jinx. It's kind of her origin story. The animation is what drew me in. It is so beautiful. It looks hand-painted.
Wow.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it just off
Love that. So not your typical sort of, CGI-looking 3D universe. Like
Right,
something
exactly.
That's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I was in the pandemic and I needed something, and I heard that there was this beautiful animated show on Netflix, and I checked it out, and it was amazing.
All right, Arcane.
Yeah.
Dulce?
For me, I would say it's the author Natsuo Kurino. She is a feminist Japanese author who writes some really gnarly stuff. First book I read by her was Grotesque. That would have been, I think, last year or 2 years ago. It was right around the time, actually, we started working on Hit Me. Her books are insane. Her other book, Out, is really popular. There is a medically accurate decapitation scene in there that
Is Out from AWA?
No,
Oh, that's
no,
not
no.
the that's
It's
not the
just
Out
a-
from
no, it's a
AWA.
novel.
Okay, it's
Oh,
a
yeah,
different.
'cause we do
You
have-
have a thing.
we
The
do.
Nazi fighting one.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, makes-
This one is about 4 Japanese women, middle-aged, who are working in a lunchbox factory who end up helping cover up a murder and end up in more decapitation situations. But the
Wow.
stuff is gnarly. And I remember talking to Krista about her books, about Natsuo Kurino, and we really connected on it. And yeah, I just felt like what a wonderful author to come into my life to read and gain more inspiration about, and to be able to connect with Krista and to be able to do a crime story like Hit Me. I feel like all those books, all that literature really got to me at the right moment.
That's
That's
great.
incredible.
Wonderful.
Okay, we are here with Dulce Montoya, Thea Cheuk from AWA Studios. Say all the things of where people can follow all the things as we wrap up.
All right. You can follow us on Instagram. I want to make sure I
AWA,
get it
so
right.
you know the right logo,
AWA
folks.
Studios Official.
Yes. And you can follow us on LinkedIn, I'm sure. AWA Studios Official. Yeah, that's
I will be applying for an internship.
Yes, please do. And what's the other stuff? You can follow our newsletter, please. That you can go to our website, which is probably awastudios.net. Where else? And-
Oh no, but you as artist, do you as artist want to be followed?
Oh, I mean, I'm not an artist. I can barely draw. But as an editor, sure, you can follow me at Dulce Maria Montoya. That's Dulce Maria and Montoya, like, Princess Bride. You can see pictures of me and my rabbits, pretty much, and sometimes comic books that I work on.
Okay.
I am actually an outlier in that I don't have any social media. I am very bad at it, and it stresses me out.
Okay.
So I would just
Well, then
direct
don't
you
do
to
it.
Dulce. Yeah.
Stay away from it. It
Yeah.
is not necessary for life. But what is necessary is reading the AWA
Yes.
works. Thank you so much for making so much
Thank
time
you.
to chat with us.
Thank
We're
you.
such big
Really
fans.
special.
Thank you.
And hugs from the Friday Night Movie family to the AWA family.
And ditto.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the con.
You too.